Hi, I'm Dr. Vore. I'm a retired guy with a camera. In a recent video, I talked about our trip to the Arkansas River Valley from Leadville down to Salida, Colorado. Our hoped-for destination was a small community where I spent much of my preteen years, Beulah Valley. Why Beulah? Well, Grandma and Grandpa DeVore lived in Beulah. We lived with them for a while when Dad was with the Colorado Game and Fish, and Dad then went to work for the U.S. Forest Service, and we moved to the Dust Bowl country, Springfield, Colorado, where Sharon, Beverly, and I all started school. And then we moved back to Beulah. After fourth grade, Dad was transferred to Elkhart, Kansas. As Dad transferred to new stations with the Forest Service, we lived somewhere new about every 2 to 3 years. Beulah was kind of a constant. Sisters Sharon, Beverly, and Jackie and I kind of think of it as home. Beverly was born in nearby Pueblo, as was our brother Alan. I had not been back to Beulah since 1963. In our travels, Cheryl and I have tried to visit many of our different childhood homes, because we both moved around as we were kids. In June of 2024, we had been to one of those places, Powell, Wyoming, for my high school class reunion. While traveling, we had diverted to Grand Junction because Mom had fallen again and was in the hospital. After spending a few days with her, we headed home to Kentucky. After visiting Mom at the nursing home in Grand Junction and stopping to see Brother Alan to pick up several boxes of Mom's old photos that I'm still trying to digitize, we fueled up and jumped on I-70 heading east, getting off at the Minturn exit onto US 24. Keep in mind it is July 5th, 2024. We did spend a little time in Leadville. Dad was stationed here a couple of summers when he was a botanist for the Forest Service. And as Mom did every time we lived somewhere new, she always took us exploring. I wondered if I would see anything I could remember. Leadville looked the same, and yet looked different, if you know what I mean. First settled in 1859 during the Pikes Peak Rush, Leadville is a former silver mining town that lies among the headwaters of the Arkansas River. Situated at an elevation of 10,119 feet, Leadville is the highest incorporated city in the United States, and it's surrounded by the two tallest peaks in the state, Mount Elbert and Mount Massive, which happen to be also the second and third tallest in the lower 48 states. Well, it's lunchtime and there's almost no place to park here, and all the eating places are too crowded. Remember, it is July 5th, the Friday of a long Independence Day weekend. Not wanting convenience store food, we headed to Buena Vista, about 30 miles south. Sadly, the traffic and crowds are even worse there than in Leadville. We decided to keep going south, hoping to find lunch in Salida, which is another 40 miles further south. Cheryl's search for small local cafes while we were driving lets her decide on the Crossroads Cafe, which is going to be perfect because it's located at an intersection with US 50, which happens to be the highway we need for continuing the trip towards Beulah. Crossroads Cafe, by the way, is a great little place. Emphasis on little, but the food is great. Really good barbecue. Our tummies now satisfied, we headed east to the next waypoint, Cotopaxi, Colorado. It's now after 3 p.m. and we still have at least 2 more hours of driving, probably longer because, one, dirt or gravel roads might be slower going than our map software thinks. These roads might also be very muddy and even closed because of recent rain. And 3, road closures because of wildfires. We'd heard that there are a couple of fires in the area, including one near Beulah. At Cotopaxi, we're turned south on some county roads, eventually connect with Colorado 6-9, and then enter the Wet Valley, which is about 60 miles long. It's a pretty drive. The peaks to our right may not be as tall as what we saw driving past from the 14ers, but still impressive. Most are over 10,000 feet elevation, and quite a few are more than 12,000 feet. To our right is the San Isabel National Forest. Well, there's a lot less holiday traffic, so we're making good time to our next turn at Westcliff. We're on Colorado 96 now. It's going to be a pretty drive on a good highway through some canyons before we turn onto gravel and dirt roads. Here's our turn, County Road 387. We see this, road closed.
Well, that's not good.
As someone once said, but is that what it really means? We're going to continue. The worst that could happen is that we have to turn around and double back to the pavement, where we would have to go over to Pueblo to the east and then a half-hour drive back west to Beulah. And since we're short on time, we're just going to gamble. We're going to keep on going. Now with another decision.
Seriously?
Do we keep going? Yes, it's almost 4:30. So as we move forward on the gravel, it twists and turns down into a canyon. Apparently that last sign is okay as long as that little crossbar is not down. Road is narrow and it likely floods with a heavy rain. After a short paved stretch, we turn further south and start climbing out of the little canyon. And finally, we see Beulah Valley stretching out before us. We turn to the west on Central Avenue. As we cross Middle Creek, I share with Cheryl that we're going up and down the hills that I tell my kids about. I walked to school in the snow, uphill both ways, with much shorter legs, of course, and through the stream, because that footbridge was not there 50 years ago. Sister Bev had told us that the bridge across Middle Creek might not be in good enough condition to drive across, and sure enough, there's a traffic cone warning us, and we decide to keep going. It's only about a 200-yard drive down to the house where we used to live. About a month later, my sister had business in Pueblo, and she did cross the bridge and snapped a photo of the house. Looks about the same now as it did 60 years ago. Seeing the firemen refilling the tanker with creek water, we guessed that the fire must be close enough, although we have not yet spotted it. We turn 100 degrees onto Grand Avenue. All of us kids used to sled down this slope in the winter. We get to the main part of town where Beulah Inn is still open, on the right, but Traber's General Store is now a museum. Here's what it looked like in the 50s and the 60s. It was also the post office, and my friend's dad, Mr. Traber, was also the postmaster. Turning south, we go up Pennsylvania Avenue to the church building we attended, usually by walking to it. Looks the same today as it did the time I saw it 60 years ago. One more stop before it gets too much later. Pine Drive. The telephone company was located in a small general store here on Pine Drive. An operator would connect our calls for us. Yes, we just picked up the handset, waited for the operator, and gave her the name of the person that we wanted to talk to. No rotary dial, no Princess phones, and certainly no cell phones. Not too far beyond the telephone office, we see the fire. It's on Oak Ridge, about 10 miles west of Beulah. It's now after 7 p.m. and we still need to get to our hotel in Pueblo. We return to Central Avenue, which is also Colorado Highway 79. I stopped to explain to Cheryl that right there is where Dad gave me the name Doc. I was about 3 years old. He told me I was just like my Uncle Ed, who was nicknamed Doc for always fixing things. We go on to Pueblo, get there just in time to see a nice sunset back towards Beulah Valley. Our trip down memory lane is over for now. I would appreciate it if you'd smash that like button down there, and hit the subscribe button too if you haven't already, and maybe watch one of these other videos. As always, thank you for watching.